So we have a couple of things going here. We have our mini hierarchy that we've set up on the head using PuppetMaster control, and then we have the extra spots that we need to add different effects to create the rest of the character. We'll click into Setup. First thing we need to define is that a pot is not going to have anything applied to it. What it's going to do is be our root. The stem, on the other hand, needs a bone deform effect. So click into the Effects tab, highlight the bone deform in the pull-down menu. Make sure stem is selected when you click the plus key to add the bone deform. Go back into items here. We'll name the skeleton plant and the bone deform plant underscore deform. We'll leave this effect inside the stem. We're not going to need the stem anymore, so we can red lock both of those. But we will need to add a bone first. So tap the plus key while your bone effect is highlighted. We'll parent that to the pot. We'll close down the stem. Drag that up so the pot is sitting on the bottom and the bone draws on top of all the other geometry. We'll pitch this one up 90 degrees and adjust the tip of this down to the base of the pot. We'll call this one base. This is just to reorient our hierarchy so that Z faces upwards. Red lock that and we'll mark it none so it doesn't draw. Plus key again while that bone's selected, and we'll start adding the stem. Let's change the stem draw mode to facet and edges so we can see our cross sections. I like to position in between the cross sections. You can see I'm making one for each cross section between the leaves. So we have a nice long straight hierarchy. This one starts to drift, we can readjust it by positioning the base bone. And from here, and just name our controls accordingly. In this case, we can do a search and replace. We'll multi-select that with the Shift key. Go down to rename items in the pull down. I'm going to name replace bone with stem. Make sure that's only on selected items and replace. So stem 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So go up to the head here. We'll collapse that hierarchy so we can see it. And we'll parent that to stem 7. So we have a straight hierarchy. You can see the head pops over here. It's supposed to do that. We have our X, Y, and Z pivots set so that Y is up 1.1 meters. Which of course starts from the parent position, which is right here. This means 0 to the child. So it's over 1.1 meters on Y. So click on any one of the axes. We'll start with Y and then just position that back down till it sits on top of the stem. And move it along Z till it's plugged right in where we need it. Now right now it looks a bit confusing. It looks like we have two heads. These parts of the head, which are the PuppetMaster sections, are the ones that actually control the mesh. This mesh is still in its default position, which is where we want it. When we click into Animate, PuppetMaster knows to take each corresponding control point from the cluster and apply it to the mesh. So it drags the mesh into the position that PuppetMaster section is in. Now the whole goal of this exercise was to know that we can mix different hierarchies together from objects and bones and effects. You don't need to use just one or another inside an effect. So just to quickly wrap up this character, we'll start with the head and we'll shift select everything down to stem 1 and hold down control key and highlight pot. So all of them are selected. So right click to the group and we'll create a new group. We'll call this one body keys. Click OK and it changes those and adds them to a color. Do the same thing for the face. Shift select everything, create a new group, face keys. Click OK. If at any time you need to adjust the membership of each of these groups, just go into Setup tab and there's a Groups tab that lets you see the body keys and the face keys and their memberships. You can also change the color of them if you want to. Now head back into Animate. To set keyframes on each of these groups, go down to the Dope sheet and click and select your group. Primary, which means the one that is currently selected, which is body key. If you middle mouse select anything else like the Puppet Master sections, you'll see that the primary is now the face keys instead of the body keys. If you select Auto Primary Group and select any one of the groups here, so it's primary face keys. When you middle mouse select, you can see that the keyframing changes to body keys. It's an easy thing to remember. So go to File. We're going to save this scene as PuppetMaster3.fxs.